The indoor lead climb approximates traditional outdoor climbing. The climber starts with his rope unattached to any anchors or carabiners. He has no protection from falling. As he climbs up the wall, he clips his rope into previously attached quick draws. This is called sport climbing. For beginners, because this is a risky climb, the climber must have a safety team in place. This consists of the belayer, the backup belayer, and the instructor. For stage 1, preparing for the climb, after the standard safety checks for harness and rope are made, the climber and belayer must determine how much slack to put into the rope system in order for the climber to clip into the first quick draw. Be exact. For stage 2, beginning the climb, the climber and belayer start the climb with a different order of commands, stating first climbing, then climb on. With the lead climb, the belayer's command climb on implies that the spot is on. As the climber moves up to the first quick draw, the belayer physically spots the climber to ensure that if the climber falls, he'll land on his feet. If a spot is needed, if the climber is falling and angling backwards, she'll push on his shoulders to keep him vertical. At stage 3, the first clip, the climber moves to a point where the quick draw is within easy reach. He must establish 3 secure points of contact. He needs 2 good footholds and 1 good handhold. This is the clipping comfort zone. After he clips in, he calls out, "Clipped, take." And once he feels tension on the rope, he and the belayer go through their last standard commands before continuing the climb, stating, "On belay, then belay on." At this point, I want the climber to weight the rope to ensure the belay is indeed on. This is needed because with the climber up on the wall, he can't physically inspect the belayer. At stage 4, continuing the climb, as the climber moves up the wall, he must constantly communicate clearly with the belayer, verbalizing every key movement he'll be making, and the belayer must respond in kind. Here's a communication sequence. The climber is ready to continue the climb. The climber will stay climbing. The belayer responds, "Climb on." Note, the belayer first takes up slack when the climber is below the piece of protection, then gives slack once the climber moves above the carabiner. When providing slack, use the down climb belayer technique. That way, in the event of a fall, the belayer always has the climber locked off. In determining how much slack to give, we follow the step slack or 1 foot rule. The belayer provides about 1 foot of slack, just enough slack for the climber to reach each new level upwards as he moves up the wall. When the climber has reached the next quick draw and is ready to clip in, the climber will call out slack clipping. The climber gives the belayer a few seconds to provide that slack before reaching down for the rope and clipping in. In determining how much slack to give the climber at this stage, we follow the reach slack or 1 arm rule. The belayer provides just enough slack for the climber to clip in. That's typically about an arm's length of rope. After the climber is clipped in, he confirms this act by calling out clipped. Then the climber is ready to continue the climb. The climber states climbing, and the belayer responds, "Climb on." The climber continues to climb, the belayer continues to belay as they repeat the above steps to the end of the climb. A couple of cautionary notes. The climber must clip into each and every quick draw. Missing a quick draw will result in too much slack in the rope system. If the climber falls, he'll be falling on a lot of slack. He might even hit the ground. Also be aware that a fall on the lead climb will drive the climber into the wall. The climber must be prepared to use her feet. She has to get her legs up and catch the wall with her feet to absorb the impact of this fall. And when clipping in, be aware of back clipping. If the climber falls on a quick draw that has been back clipped, the rope could hit the gate and open it, releasing the rope and resulting in the climber falling on a lot of slack. That climber might even hit the ground. Also, the climber has to watch for rope leg positioning. The rope should never get behind the climber's body or legs. Otherwise, the rope could tangle around the leg on a fall, causing the climber to tumble upside down and crash into the wall. Then there's Z-clipping. If the climber grabs the rope below the last piece of protection, the resulting Z-clip will prevent the climber from moving forward, and the point of protection would be the previous clip.